Alexei, please, here's your floor. Start talking about the integrations and connectors. Thank you.
Let's go a little bit deep to what we are going to discuss about the integrations, as we discussed already on our previous talk that Camunda 8, one of the main of its feature is integration with help of connectors, and let's deep dive into this area a little bit with the next presentation. First of all, let's see what this process orchestration is and how it works. In most cases, for organization we are doing the process orchestration, we need to orchestrate different types of work to be done to reach our business goal. What we can have potentially, we can have human tasks, for example, and when we have people in our processes, we usually need to somehow notify them about that they have the task. We can send email, or it could be a message in a Slack or a Microsoft Teams, whatever we can imagine. Or we can go to the microservices where we're orchestrating microservices. In this case, we have to either to listen some events that microservices producing and react on these events in our web processes to continue the execution, or we have to notify those microservices about something what has been happened in our process, and to make a business logic flow and to make microservices to do the job. Also, in the current organization environments, we could have potentially RPA installed, which is about more or less task automation, and simple tasks are done by RPA, and then we are going to orchestrate them. Or even we can talk about different IoT devices which have to be orchestrated via the messages as well. And at this point, we tell that we need to integrate Camunda with all this stuff, and telling that there is a really big diversity of different endpoints and different types of endpoints we have to orchestrate. And here, connectors are the main player in the Camunda 8 environment. What is actually Camunda in general? We can say that connector is a reusable building block which performs the integration and communication with an external system, which we can easily use in our diagrams. We just put an activity into the schema, provides some details about how it has to be executed. And what is really important at this point in time is that the process developer or business analyst who is creating the process actually shouldn't know about the actual business logic behind how the communication goes on. It just puts a rectangle on his schema, provides some simple attributes, how to control the execution, and he doesn't care how it is performed in actual from the code perspective. If to go a little bit more deep into the connector and to say how it is built, how it is constructed, actually connector consists of two main parts. First part is the actual coding. Currently it is a Java application where we implement the actual business logic, how the connector communicates with external system, how it goes via the API, security, or whatever. And we are hiding this information from the business perspective, from the business users. And the second part of this pattern is a modular UI or element called element template, which helps us to visualize the parameters or connector itself on our business process schema. When you just put this rectangle, then you can go to the right panel on the right side, and you see the visual representation of the parameters you have to enter. And further in our presentation, we will just look a little bit closer to how it looks like. When we're talking about the connectors, we have to divide them in two big groups. And it will also depend how we communicate. First, it's inbound and outbound connectors, and they behave a little bit differently. As we discussed previously about different scenarios, when we have to notify an external system about something what has been happening in our process, this is an outbound. It's really very simple. We have an API which is provided by a third-party system, and we just call it. Inbound is a little bit more complex. There are different patterns how we can communicate with external systems. And we should understand that as a process developer, we in most cases can't influence on the third-party system how they provide API to us. We have to use what it is. And the three main patterns which can be used for inbound connectors are webhooks. In this case, we just provide an endpoint on our side, on the process side, which can be called by the external system in case if something has been happened there. And then Camunda infrastructure correlates it to a right process instance and gives this message to the process to be executed. Or it could be a subscription model, which we are quite familiar in the area of Kafka, that there is a topic, we're subscribing to it, and if something has happened, we're just getting the information about this and can also react on this message. And the last one is a pooling mechanism where a third-party system does not provide active communication, but there is an endpoint which we are calling on a regular basis, asking if there is something new, something has been changed there, and if something has been changed, then we can react from the process side. How we why connectors are useful for us? First of all, it's a reduction of time. At having already out of the box a big list of connectors, we're reducing the development time. Somebody, Camunda partner, community, whoever, has provided us already with the building block. We just take it and started using. It's really reducing heavily the time we need to come to the market with a new implementation of a process. And even if there is no such a connector, it's quite easy to build it. On the right side, you can see a developer-friendly feature of connectors. Camunda already provides SDK, which helps you to create those new connectors. And developer having this SDK shouldn't care about to go deep dive into the actual Camunda implementation itself, how core it behaves. It uses just SDK, can concentrate fully on the implementation of a communication business logic, local testing, and then this component can be reused over different environments. And as we discussed a little bit about those connectors, it's really make it much easier to make the integration. You really don't need to go deep into the communication, how you have to work with external system, what is an API it provides, what is the data structure or sequence of messages or calls to APIs you have to do, what is the type of the security and so on. You just reuse those building blocks already available for you. And depending on the direction of communication, either it's inbound or outbound, you will select just a proper activity type. It could be a message throw event in case of outbound, for example, communication, or catch event in case if we are talking about some inbound communication. And how we can find the right connect for us? Camunda already thought about it, and recently they raised a new part of their ecosystem. It's Camunda Marketplace, where all the connectors currently available are gathered all together. You can go to the marketplace on the web, navigate, look for any connector you are interested in. There are some filter options just to find the right one. You can just look, think how it can be used, and download it or follow some instructions Camunda provides it, because installation of a connector a little bit different depending on the mode you are working. It's a SaaS platform or it's a self-managed platform. All the instructions are usually available on the connector website, and you can easily start using it. What I want to say here also is that connectors could be provided by the Camunda itself. It's a more basic and more, I think, oftenly used connectors which Camunda sees from their experience communicating with their customers. Also, the partner is an ability to post their connectors they have created during their work with Camunda, if they think that this connector could be useful for their other customers or whoever. And also the community itself can suggest new connectors and provide the implementation that you can find here. And for each connector there is a tag on the bottom where you can identify and find who is an author of it. And most of the connectors are really open source. When you are publishing the connector, there is usually a link just to the GitHub code, and you can do whatever you want. Just to show how many different connectors could be and diversity of connectors available in the actual Camunda 8 ecosystem, you can see the different areas where you can find connectors. It could be cloud computing, something like Kafka, AWS, Lambda functions, or it could be the area of automation products like RPA tools, which is quite popular currently on the market, or it could be integration with enterprise level systems, something like CRMs or ERP systems. It could be integration with document management systems like Google Drive or a Box, or it could be a collaboration tool, sending emails via SendGrid, for example, or some messaging into the different messaging systems. It could be integration also with data analytics tools like BI or data lakes or whatever. And there is also a layer of more technical connectors like REST connector, GraphQL connector, where we are going to just on the protocol level. But the marketplace is a little bit more than just a collection of connectors available currently on the market. The next option is via the marketplace you can submit a new connector. There is a very straightforward and simple instruction how to do it, what you need to provide to publish a new connector. And due to this functionality, the ecosystem of connectors is really growing up quite rapidly. A new connector appears. And a next option is that you can not provide an actual connector, you can post an idea about the connector you need. If you don't have enough skills or possibilities to implement, you can just post an idea which connector can be useful and required. There is some kind of like system. So many more people like this idea, more likely this connector will be implemented in a short time frame. Recently, Camunda also extended connector ecosystem with a certification program. This means that they go to analyze your code, your connector more thoroughly, also check it for additional vulnerabilities, and the connector is moving from your source code system, from your GitHub account to the Camunda. And Camunda also start verifying compliance with the new releases. It's a more reliable, let me say, connector, and it gets additional label on it. And from the Camunda marketplace, after you have published your own connector, you can apply also for the certification. And the next option, which is provided by the Camunda marketplace, it's a new area which is growing up currently, is the process blueprints. It's more or less similar in the idea with the connector, that is a catalog of blueprints, and also Camunda itself doing these blueprints, or some partners or community can post additional blueprints. The main idea behind the blueprints is that you can start sharing with examples of your processes, and it could be just a simple solution of issue you have been facing in your project. Let me say, for example, for ICE principle in the approval, you can have a nice idea, you can put this blueprint and all others can find it and start using in their processes out of the box, not thinking about how to do it themselves. Or it could be examples how to use other connectors. Currently you can find some blueprint provided by Camunda, how you can use, for example, AI, chatbots or whatever. It's just more like examples, but it's a start point for you to start using Camunda and be familiarized with the functionality it provides you. In our presentation about the connectors, I've showed that it's really a big plenty of information and possibilities to integrate. We, as a partner, have developed already a connector which is available also in the marketplace, and this connector is about connecting with EasyRPA tool. And now I just want to briefly tell you about this tool a little bit and why we have selected it. And in the next session, you will even see a little bit it's in real life, more in demo mode. What is EasyRPA? EasyRPA is a product which has been developed by our company, and this is enterprise class platform in the area of robotic process automation, which you can find also on our website and be familiarized more about this tool. Simple facts about it: it's also a tool which is based on the quite modern technologies, allowing containerization and high scalability of it. It provides a good functionality for the robot monitoring and auditing, that you can find a lot of information how your system behaves, perform the health checks, and understand how it's going on and react if in case of any issues which can be found in the platform. Out of the box, the platform also provides OCR engine and machine learning, which really can help you to start with automatization of document processing, that you can start analyzing documents, classify them, extract the data them, and then to use it in your processes. For sure, it's a classic implementation of RPAs when you just automate the human tasks, and also it provides so-called human-in-the-loop automation. That means that if the human still is needed to make a decision, the platform also allows you to include the human into the loop. And about our connector, how we use it and how it looks like from the perspective of a process developer and analyst. When you start your process, you just put, let me say, the rectangle on the Canva, and when you are clicking by mouse on this rectangle, you have an option how to select the type of your rectangle, what activity, and Camunda also suggests you the list of possible elements, change elements you can apply to this activity, and in this list you will get, in our case, it's EasyRPA connector, and you can select. And this is more or less similar to any connector we are going to use. And as I've told previously, with AI functionality, it even now you can get some suggestions by the Camunda, which connector will be more useful for you. After you have selected EasyRPA connector to be applied as an element type for you, you can see the changes on the properties panel on the right side of your canvas, your web modeler. You see this marker, that template applied, and you can just change the type, for example, or look which type you have selected, and also you see that some additional attributes have appeared on the panel. First, it's authentication. You just can provide the information how you are going to authenticate. Authenticate the user with EasyRPA. Usually we are doing with some technical user or API key provided by the platform itself. And in the bottom you have a list of action operations which is available for our connector or connector you have selected. And depending on the operation you select, also the panel adjusted to provide you right attributes which are required to perform this operation depending on your selection. It's really quite easy and simple to be implemented. Our connector currently provides 4 main operations, and potentially it could be extended. If you already have your connector, it's not so difficult to extend it with a new functionality. The main operation for us and for this EasyRPA connector is a start process, when you are just initiating the RPA robot and queuing into the platforms, that's informing that you need to do some job. You just provide the ID or the name of the robot you want to execute, and back you are receiving the technical ID which you can use in follow-up operations just to get the information about the execution. And it's clear the next operation is get process status, that after you have started your robot in RPA platform, you can use this ID to analyze this actual status, asking the system in a pooling mode. asking about the actual status, and depending on the result status which are returning by the system, you can make a further decisions. Either you are going to the loop waiting for the any new status you are looking for. For example, if you are still in progress or a running bot still, if it is completed, you are okay, you can go on and go to the successful path of your process. Or if you are getting an error, then you can model how you react on the error in case of robot has been failed to perform their job. And the next two operations are about the results. If robot has did some job, he produced some data. On the easier platforms, usually robot puts this data into the so-called data store. And if you need to find this data and get it to for the process, then you first have to find the data store, because usually on the design phase you have a mnemonic name of a data store where the data will be stored, and depending on the environment, test, production environment, the actual technical ID can be really different, and it's more safe to use these mnemonic values. You can find the technical ID which is proper for the current environment, and then you can use a search item operation which allows you to get the actual data produced by the robot. It's a JSON-like structure, and then you can analyze this data and use it in your process to continue the execution doing what you want to do. In which areas usually we use RPA techniques? It may be not so specific for easy RPA. It actually can be any RPA tool. First of all, it's I think origin of any RPA tool that we are automating human tasks. Those tasks which are routine tasks performed on a daily basis, the same job you are doing, there is no any deviations, no any decision you just need to do. It's very easy to automate with RPA. With easy RPA, when we have OCR and ML included out of the box, the next three operations is quite useful. You can start document analysis, you can recognize, extract the data out of the files you're providing. You can also implement some validation or data conversion mechanism based on the robots, and then continue your process based on this information you have. And discussing about easy RPA or RPA in general and Camunda itself, I want to a little bit come back to the topic of hyperautomation, which has been also taken a little bit about by Tommaso in his speech. Now when we are talking about the automation in our organizations, we are coming to the new paradigms called hyperautomation. Nowadays, a lot of different organizations in their movement forward in the IT spent a lot of budget and efforts to automate their task and digitizing a lot. But in many cases, it's done not, how to say, as a general umbrella, but it's point by point. Here we are using robots, here we have CRM, here we have RPA, but they are not somehow joined all together. And here we are coming to the hyper-automation, where we want to orchestrate all this IT stuff we currently have. In reality, hyper-automation usually has four main steps. The first step is the discovery, just to understand what you have in your IT landscape, how it behaves. What is important here is that you can rely on your feelings or communication with your management, where you have pitfalls, bottlenecks, or whatever. But in a better way, you have to use some techniques which are provided by so-called process mining, which is based on the data which is already available in your organization in the different log files or data lakes, just to analyze how your system behaves and what information you can extract out of it, and to understand where you can go and how you can improve your infrastructure and where you can put your main efforts. And in the whole history or story of hyperautomation, I think this is the only step where Camunda is not still doing anything. You need to do some other tools. All other steps are really actually covered by the Camunda. After you have discovered what you need to do, you go to the design phase where you are starting to more thorough analysis what is going on and start creating the diagrams, modeling the stuff you're having in your systems and thinking how you can join everything in your IT landscape. And design phase, it's a similar step from the Camunda perspective, process modeling, and here we can use web modeler. And we're speaking about Camunda 8, even more. We can start using web modeler, and as we discussed in the previous speech, it's really a flexible tool which can bring together people in the organization, business and IT, and communicate and collaborate effectively to create the right processes. After the process have been done, we are going to the automation phase, and here we are again using Camunda in its full power to execute our processes, and here also in automation phase we can make additional decisions about the tooling we're using in our IT landscape, because we can understand that many tools which are using in the organization have been started using long ago, and maybe we can find even more better tools to automate the same stuff and more effectively doing resolving the issues we had why we have selected those tools. And this is the core of a Camunda. After we have started the automation and execution of our process, we are coming as usual in the from the management perspective, PDCA cycle, Deming cycle, we are going to the improvements. And here Camunda also gives us a good instrument called Optimize, which is based on business intelligence, collecting the data from the processes you are executing. You can visualize it. You can create quite easily different dashboards where you can see the KPIs of a process, the performance of your processes, and to analyze this information and to understand where are the bottlenecks and where you can really improve and bring to the scene the optimization and improvements of your processes. And this is really great stuff to hyper-automate. I think Camunda is a good player on the market just to do all this stuff. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, you are welcome.
Thank you, Alexei. I do have a couple of questions.
Sure.
And the first would be a very simple one. You showed a very nice connector to the product, which is also doing a lot of useful things on our customers. But the question is, how long did it take you to develop? So, like, what was the effort, and how long did it take you to develop the connector?
Actually, it's not so difficult because, as I told it, Camunda provides already an SDK. If you're a Java developer, it's very easy to understand how to use it, how to apply it. I think that we spent more time just to investigate the API provided by the Easy RPA, because we're a little bit aside of this tool from the different team. And actual implementation, I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks is enough if you're a Java developer.
Thank you. Me again. Thank you for the speech. One more question. In your connector, we have seen a possibility to get data from a storage. So basically, as I understand, Camunda allows you to work with data and pass it through the process.
Yes.
And you can, according to the data you receive, you can trigger different processes or use it in. Okay, great, thank you. That was just a clarification, you know.
I maybe a little bit more that about the modeling and usage. That when you start to use Camunda, when you are getting data out of external system, again, you cannot influence what it provides you, just the data structure which is defined by the vendor of that system. But on the side of the Camunda, as we told also before in your previous question, you don't really need to keep the whole data structure within the process. In the activity where you are just using as a connector, our connector or whatever else, you can use so-called inbound-outbound mapping just to create another process variable where you will store only that those attributes were really interesting for you or which are needed to execute the process. This is the best paradigm you have to apply, that not to store all the information within the process itself.
Thank you, Alex.
You said most of the connectors on the marketplace are open source, right?
Yeah,
So what about your connector?
the same.
So basically anyone can go
Yeah.
GitHub and start
It is.
using it, and it can be modified, right?
Yeah.
If required. Okay, so maybe then going back to the hyper automation topic and the total understanding of basically the marketplace. We've mentioned RPA, we mentioned BI tools, we mentioned data, we mentioned blueprints, and basically that's it, or I can design whatever connector I want for the specific use case and I can upload it to marketplace. I don't know, just something out of...
It should be your own decision. You can, the connector is a good paradigm which can be used to integrate of a process with a third-party systems which is orchestrated by the process. And if you see the potential for reusability, it's better to create a connector, because it's also quite common for many organizations that many departments are not knowing what the other departments are doing, and each department or even team sometimes implements the same stuff. And having connectors and having them published either on the Camunda marketplace, or it could be even some internal storage where you can share the information via, for example, this center of excellence in your organization about the processes, to spread the information that this integration is already done, and you publish the connector inside your organization. All the teams start to using it in the same way.
Okay, so because we had a very good example with RPA and BPM. So why you think Camunda is actually open for to give the RPA vendors and RPA developers an opportunity to be published on their platform? So because sometimes they are doing pretty similar stuff.
Okay.
So then
it's quite interesting question. Actually, yes, RPA sometimes confuse people, because if we just take this abbreviation, RPA, it's robotic process automation, and many people really believe when they start using the RPA that they are automating their processes, but reality is a little bit different. RPA is a technology which we in the business process management area usually talk that it's task automation actually. It's small chunk of activities. Yes, it could be a small process, some chunk of activities you are performing, but usually it's really a task. And when we're talking about Camunda, we are talking not about a single step or a single chunk of small actions that you need to perform your task. We are talking about business end-to-end processes which involves many different tools, systems, involving also human beings in the process. And you can really bring this automation to the new level, orchestrating humans, AI, for example, third-party systems, RPAs, whatever, via the API, and involve also the human to make the decisions.
So
they are not contradictory, they are complementary tools.
So have you seen with the customers that they're doing some pieces of work, like doing RPA or some other things, but then they realize that they need a more robust and sophisticated software to replace the RPA?
With replacement, I'm not sure that I have been faced, but I think that also, again, about this complementary, that starting with RPA, believing that they're doing process automation, after some time they can start to understand that it's really, they need something more, and then when looking to the market, what to do. And then they come to the BPM vendors and see that they can even do more. As I told that it's not a substitution. It's a complementary technologies, and you have to evolve in the organization to understand. And also, if somebody is interested, you can go to the website and look about process maturity model introduced by Camunda, and to have a better understanding how you are moving in this process mind and how you are doing the automation and applying of process ideas in your organization.
Well, let me answer this question from my side, because I know the answer. And the answer is yes. One of our customers actually was using the RPA tool, then they realized that like more sophisticated BPM tool would be better. So they actually put a lot of tasks under the BPM concept. The reason we are actually mentioning the RPA and easy RPA, because we see a lot of use cases with the customers where they need to bring together RPA and BPM and Camunda. And the thing is that because most of the big vendors, they are into low-code, no-code approach, which is also in some form realized with under the Camunda concept. Still, the people that are in the center of excellence for the RPA, they are less technical in most of the cases. They are more into processes and understanding and defining the process to be automated. And we saw the need to develop something which is more robust, because we are also doing a lot of RPA projects. And that's the reason we came up with something which is Java focused for the RPA developers and for BPM developers. And now those guys speak same Java language in most of the cases.